Last week, we shared the story of our humble beginnings, our origin story, if you will. The story you heard was the foundation of how ahow started. Now, we will be diving into our story of the firsts. You will meet some of our first children, youth, our first worship leader, and even learn about the first ahow wedding. It's important to note that while this story is being told about our firsts, it's rooted in so much more. Our history, evolution, and our core foundation. Welcome to Chapter 2, the story of our firsts.
Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that Agape House of Worship is 20 years old.
Hi, my name is Faith Amorin. I've been going to Agape for 20 years.
My name is Josephine Doyen Latubasun. I have been in Agape for, how old am I? 21, so 20 years. Yeah.
Well, my name is Dr. Sarah Omadele, and my wedding was the first wedding to hold in Agape House of Worship.
My name is Oluwase Damilola Bulufawi, and I started attending Agape during Agape's second service.
Hey, my name is Ebun Lowry, and I was the first baby born in Agape.
Hi, my name is Aria Jow, and I've been going to Agape for 17 years.
My name is Samuel Olumide Amorin. Most people know me as Olumide, or Olu. And I've been at Agape for 20 years.
I've been in Agape for 19, almost 20 years.
Wow. I can't believe 20 years has just gone by like that. Well, if you're wondering who I am, my name is David Ayeni, and I used to be the choir director.
My name is Joshua Latubasun, and I've been at ahow all 20 years. I was actually the first baby dedicated at Agape House of Worship. I learned that like years later, because obviously like I didn't know it then. Yeah. So finding out you were like the first was kind of funny.
How did you find out that you were the first?
I can't remember. Probably my mom or maybe PJ. Yeah, maybe PJ. Re-mentioned it.
He was randomly mentioned it?
Yeah, I can't recall like specifically, but it was probably.
I know he preached about something though, and put in that like now you're in protocol, and he was the first baby dedicated. Yeah. So it's like interesting to see
That was last year's anniversary. So he said that I was the first baby dedicated, and now that I'm serving in that ministry with him. So.
I met Pastor Jide through his wife. So his wife's sisters were my friend. They're my friends, both of them. Tommy and Bingpe, they were actually part of my bridal party. We went to the same college in New Jersey. We went to Essex County College, 20 years ago. Yeah, so we were really friends. And then they told me about the church. Our relationship kind of morphed into, oh yeah, my sister's husband is a pastor, he has a church, and he had already established a church then. So I became a member of his church, and I'm not sure if I spent about a year or so. It's just been so long. Oh my God. But yeah, I stayed in the church. I learned a lot from him. His teaching, his doctrine is really solid, very down to earth, very nice guy, very approachable.
As the first worship leader, I have to say that things were different then. When I joined the choir, there were only 5, I think there were about 5 ladies. Let me see if I can remember their names. They eventually became 6 within the month or 2 when I joined. So there was Bingpe, there was Kike, there was Tosin, there was Dele, there was Ronke, and then there was Vivian. So Vivian, I think, joined about a month or 2 after I came in. So when I joined the choir, there were about 6 ladies, and it's amazing to see how it's transformed. But back then, we were just 6, and a lot of the people in the choir were not that experienced with music, and they were trying things out. And we only had rehearsals on Sunday morning for 1 hour with the instrumentalist who showed up on Sunday morning, and all the music was music sheet. Pastor Bimbo, you know, back in the day, Axel, the keyboardist, and George, the drummer, would come in. It was Axel and George. That's all we had. And then eventually we had another George who was playing the guitar. And these musicians would show up an hour before service. So we had an hour to rehearse before service. So our choir practice was usually done a cappella, which is singing without music. And it was important that we brought worship to the house on a Sunday. And there was a huge transformation because I had a strong music background and over the years, and it was a great opportunity to teach the band.
I'd say growing up Agape, it's like in the moment, it was always exciting because I think it's interesting because like when I was younger and like as I was growing up as Agape was gradually getting bigger, like it was always so exciting every time like something new would happen, and like every time we would like go to a new building, like when we went from renting to owning the first building, and then we went from there to this building. It was always like really exciting to me, but I think also because like I didn't know all of the hard work that was actually going on, or like all of the behind the scenes, like I wasn't really aware of like the sacrifices that were being made. It was kind of just like I got to experience like all of the good and fun, exciting parts, even though like now that when I'm older I look back on it, like there was probably a lot that was like really difficult for the people who were in charge, like my parents and all of their friends who were actually running the operation. But I think being a child, like during it all going on, was like really fun and exciting.
Growing up Agape means going to the corner store in the old building and buying some Skittles and Sour Patch.
Yeah.
And playing tag in the sanctuary when your parents were in a meeting.
And you're not supposed to.
And you're not supposed to be running in the sanctuary.
I would say growing up Agape is growing up with a second family, growing up with the village surrounding you. So many people that go to Agape now have seen me since I was like 5 years old. They saw every milestone, saw me graduate high school, college, get my license, and throughout everything, I can see truly everyone at Agape has truly been very supportive of me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just echo everything you said, Faith. I think growing up Agape means having Agape be part of every single milestone in your life. So like you mentioned, like getting your license. And I remember that first Sunday when you first drive to church and people are like, oh my gosh, you can drive now. Or like having people from ahow like come to your high school and college graduation. So like every milestone in your life has like been marked by people in ahow being present. So I think that's really special.
I think growing up, I was so used to we're going to church on Sunday, we're going to church on Wednesday, and we're going to church on Saturday, those 3 times throughout the week. And it's just like a constant cycle. But then I think as I got older and I actually went away for college, I'm still in college now, but I think when I first got there, I truly took for granted what Agape was and how just we are as a church. And I think I realized that you genuinely grow in this church, and I think that so many people care about who you are as a person and care about your faith journey. So I think I just realized that I truly depend on the people in this church, and I depend on how they want to see you do better in your faith journey.
I remember, to this day, I remember the exact day when I actually, the exact place, let me not say day, the exact place when I gave my life to Christ. And that's when, again, I said, there was this place where I transitioned from going to church regularly just because my parents went, so now I built a relationship with Christ. So I remember the day I gave my life to Christ. It was in Post Legion, actually. And it was part of, I think I was part of Warrior, maybe I was still part of Protestant at the time, I don't remember. And I remember my teacher at the time, it was Auntie Yemi Sonyaolu. She gave a powerful lesson about, about Jesus. I don't remember the exact topic, but I remember that day I was just overwhelmed, and I said, today's the day that I want to decide to give my life to Christ.
When I think about my faith journey in general, or even my faith journey within ahow, I think of the verse where it says, when I was a child, I talked like a child, I understood like a child, I reasoned as a child, but then when I matured and became an adult, I put away childish things. And I feel like that verse is really representative of my spiritual growth within ahow. Like, you first are introduced to God and the Word of God and like Potter's House and Awana. But then when you join YRU, like you're kind of forced to mature a little bit and put away some of those childish things. But I think even outside of, I guess, graduating out of YRU or any of the formal spiritual development phases we have here within ahow, I think my faith journey has been one that's been rooted in community. And regardless of the age that I was or the season of life I was going in, there was always people within ahow like telling me to come up higher in a different way and always requiring more of me and encouraging me to go deeper in God. And secondly, I would say one thing that played a huge part is I was always surrounded by people who loved the Lord in a way that made me want to get to know God in a certain way. Like I can think of specific seasons of life where whether it was youth leaders or mentors or people in prayer, like just the way they expressed their love for God made me say, okay, there's something that they know and they've experienced about God that I want for myself.
You know, Pastor preaches a lot about don't despise small beginnings. I saw the beginnings of Agape where we started out in Nuno's Pavilion, walking in every day, and everyone believing in the mission of the church, but also just wanting to and longing for Christ, and saw how, as a young kid, I saw everyone, who get there 2 hours early to roll away the tables, clean up the smell of, Saturday night activities that happened there, and then everyone just lock in and get ready for a service, and then also serve, but also be served by receiving the word of God. And that's what being Agape has been to me, really. It's just leading with service, essentially, in everything that you do. And along with leading service, also leading with love, hence the name. And that, at a young age, when I started going, I was 9, I think 8 and 9. Something that, you don't really understand at that moment, but as I grew up more and I reflected more about my journey with Agape, I learned more about, those things that were instilled when we first started, and you can still see those things today.
Yeah, I feel like I will always be a part of the Agape family. Agape has supported me through various seasons of my life. Going to Agape motivates you to want to grow, to want to know more about the Lord, to take your walk with the Lord seriously, to motivate others to take their walk seriously. And not only that, to also realize that your walk with God doesn't just stop at the four corners of the church. It extends to your personal life, to your work life. And so when you go to a church like that, where you see how people don't put different parts of their life in boxes, but do everything together and believing, yes, you should be praying, you should be focused on the word of God, and you should be doing good at work because you're a child of God. You should be excellent at your job because you are a child of God. When you see that and you understand that philosophy, that's how children of God should be, you take that out, and then you end up also growing at work. Think of Agape, I think of the word growth.
Do you think that there's a place for everyone at Agape? 1,001%. There's a place for you at Agape. There's a place for me at Agape. There's a place for my neighbor at Agape once they want to come. There's a place for everybody.
Yeah, and there's a place for every version of you at Agape.
Happy 20th anniversary, Agape.
Congratulations on your 20th year anniversary.
Agape House of Worship, congratulations on your 20th year anniversary.
Agape House of Worship family of churches, our journey continues as we grow ever brighter.